right? So we're very big believers in liquidity pools. We believe that liquidity pools are going to be a standard part of the future ecosystem. We're very interested in lending protocols.
Alrighty, everybody, what is going on? Welcome back to another CYPRX video banger. In today's video, I want you to clearly see how the introduction of DeFi primitives into the XRP ecosystem is unlocking a level of utility that has been dormant for years. The time has come to shift your mindset, not just from HODL, but to HODL, earn, and compound. This is exactly what financial institutions are preparing to do.
Actually the question is not how institutions are adopting DeFi, it's how they navigate it, right? And now it's really about navigating it versus are they touching it or not? They are. They're already interacting with it.
And retail participants, in our personal opinion here at CYPRX, should be thinking of this in the same exact way. And so throughout this video breakdown, we're going to be diving deep into what Flare and Strobe Finance are bringing to the table and how they are poised to revolutionize what is possible for us as XRP holders. Now, today's video breakdown is going to be a longer one, but if you're serious about being a long-term market participant and taking full advantage of this ongoing wealth transformation, it will be time well spent watching today's video breakdown in detail. So as always, I like to kick it off and set the tone with someone with valid credentials. We're going to be listening to an industry-leading expert from Zodia Custody. Let me just share my screen with you guys real fast, where he goes on to mention and talk about how financial institutions should start to learn about staking to participate in the security of these networks. And this is a recent video breakdown from the Crypto Valley Conference, April 9th, 2025, only has 101 views. This gentleman here, his name is Azmina Kashani. He is from Zodia Custody. Again, go do your research on what Zodia Custody is. So take these things into consideration as we start to shift our mindset and we really show you guys the nitty gritty of what is becoming available to us as XRP holders. Listen here to what this gentleman says.
With you, and let's try to set a foundation. What is taking in simple words and how banks actually can benefit from this and how it can work as a product for banks?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a good starting point. So staking is the process of locking up your crypto assets for a chain in order to provide security or help the chain in one form or another, and in return you receive rewards. So for Ethereum, native staking like 3.5%, you've got Solana at 10%. There's other chains out there, but some of the key ones. Essentially, the way you can consider it is in itself, it's a core financial product. And for any banks that want to down the line release products, staking is part and parcel. Unlike traditional finance where you can release like lending products or whatever it might be, as part of crypto, staking is in its core. And I think banks definitely need like a good understanding of how staking works, the risks associated with it, and then ultimately how they can provide it to clients. Because as crypto adoption increases and you've got more and more, I guess, crypto assets being held with banks, people are going to start asking, well, how can I leverage this, or how can I get a return on what I'm holding? In traditional finance, you don't have people holding large sums of liquid cash in banks, and it's not going to be the case with crypto as well, right? So if you're getting involved in crypto custody or holding crypto assets for your clients, then it's paramount that you do get an understanding of staking.
So you all are now hearing this from someone with valid credentials in the ecosystem, a representative directly from Zodia Custody, telling you all that it is paramount that you grasp the understanding of how to stake your digital assets, generate passive income, and earn rewards while securing the network.
Right. So if you're getting involved in crypto custody or holding crypto assets for your clients, then it's paramount that you do get an understanding of staking.
This is, again, a groundbreaking shift, not only in terms of sentiment, but in terms of a mindset that everybody, including the XRP army, needs to start to have, because these DeFi primitives are coming fast to the XRP ecosystem. And so here in this post, as we continue down the rabbit hole, we're first going to go over the Flare ecosystem, what they're providing to XRP holders via a recent Masari update, and a full article breakdown on what Flare is bringing to us as XRP holders. Then we'll transition. I want to play another video clip from other systemically important organizations in this space, from people with valid credentials, telling you guys that liquid staking, restaking, and all of these things are going to be important to the crypto ecosystem moving forward. They specifically mention and talk about Bitcoin, but same concepts, just talking about general assets as a whole. And then we'll transition and read thoroughly through the Strobe Finance documents as well. So I said here, just to again set the tone, smart people will not sell their XRP. This is going to be important when we read the Strobe Finance article, because it specifically mentions not selling XRP. And when we go into the other video breakdown, the gentleman also mentions that this is one of the benefits of being a participant in the DeFi ecosystem, is not having to sell out of your positions, remaining liquid in the ecosystem by lending out your assets, borrowing against them, and keeping your position while still remaining liquid. I said here, they will learn how to. Individuals that are smart won't sell their XRP. They will learn how to lend. They will learn how to borrow. They will learn how to provide liquidity, yield farm, liquid stake, and pay themselves passive rewards with their XRP. Most influencers are still out there manipulating people into thinking the smartest approach is to sell their XRP for fiat. Those influencers are still living in 2021 with that mindset. I stand by this approach. As we transition into this digitally native economy, people will start to wake up and realize the utility that these digital assets really bring to the table. So shout out to Crypto Erie for this one. This is where I got the link to this report. She said here, Flare is expanding XRP's role in DeFi. As the XRP-Fi narrative continues to gain traction and new primitives like liquid staking come online, Flare Networks is poised to become a central hub for XRP-based DeFi activity. Jeremy Koch, I'm assuming, wrote this report. Former Fidelity analyst. If you guys don't know what Fidelity is, go do again that research. Now at Masari, and then she added the link for this report here. So coming over here, this one is going to be relatively lengthy, but in a previous video breakdown, we had mentioned to you guys and showed you all a panelist on stage mentioning that DeFi brought a certain aspect of utility to ETH, which is exactly why it sits above XRP in terms of market cap valuation and performance at the number 2 spot. If you just go look at the TVL locked in the DeFi ecosystem in Ethereum, it supersedes XRP tenfold. Right? Honestly, probably over 100-fold. There's about 57 million active DeFi TVL on the XRPL right now, according to DeFi Llama. I think that number is a little shaky, give or take a few million, but still, regardless, imagine if $60 billion of dormant liquidity in the XRPL ecosystem that's just sitting idle on centralized exchanges came over into the active DeFi ecosystem on the XRPL. I'm talking about price appreciation that some people can't even fathom. Right. And so that is coming. It says here just at the bottom of this report, to kind of full circle this before we read thoroughly through it, this system is going to allow users to benefit from staking yield without losing liquidity, unlocking new utility for XRP and DeFi. So it mentions staking yield. What did the gentleman from Zodiac Custody say? It is paramount that you understand staking. So again, this is going to be lengthy, but it's important that if you don't know about this, you listen to what it is that this report has to say. Okay. We're only going to read some snippets. I'm not going to read the entire thing, just the highlights. So buckle up. Let's dive in. So here's the primer. It says, Flare is a full stack layer 1 designed for a data intensive use case. It provides a bridge between non-smart contract blockchains, assets, and the world of DeFi. At its core, Flare has 3 main features. Flare Time Series Oracle, or FTSO, which is an enshrined oracle that provides decentralized data feeds on Flare. Flare Data Connector, or FDC, which is designed to validate external data for Flare's EVM state, and IIIF assets, which enables the creation of fully collateralized representations of non-smart contract assets on Flare. The most prominent F asset example is FXRP, a version of XRP that can be used within Flare's EVM compatible environment. FXRP contributes to the XRP-Fi narrative, the emergence of a DeFi ecosystem built around XRP, which is one of the largest cryptocurrencies by market capitalization. And a large part of that market cap sits dormant on centralized exchanges, which we've confirmed by one of the tech leads of Strobe Finance. As XRP's market presence continues to grow, Flare's technology offers a pathway to unlock this dormant value and to integrate it into the broader DeFi landscape. This potential has attracted attention from both retail and institutional players. Again, keep in mind what the gentleman from Zodia Custody said just a second ago, setting the stage for what could be one of the most significant developments in the XRP ecosystem since its inception. Okay, this is huge, groundbreaking stuff. And it's so crazy that the vast majority of individuals are dodging this, think that it's some scam or that it's something that is just a narrative and it's going to go away. However, it is actually the inverse. It is probably going to be one of the most important developments in XRP's history. How F assets work, we're going to kind of skip thoroughly through that because I just want to give you guys a broad overview, but this goes into a really detailistic perspective on how this all works. You guys can thoroughly read through this by following Crypto Erie and clicking on this Masari report or just Googling it yourself. As we come down here to continue, it says, for non-smart contracts chains like the XRPL, F assets represent a transformative opportunity. While the XRPL has native functions like escrows, checks, and payment channels, it cannot implement complex smart contracts. F assets bridge this gap by allowing XRP token holders to participate in a full range of DeFi activities, aka XRP-Fi, such as lending, borrowing, yield farming, and liquidity provisioning without sacrificing custody of their underlying assets. I'll pause right there, playing two video clips of an individual representative from a large financial institution on stage and another one from Franklin Templeton, Sandy Quell, both talking about being a liquidity provider, how it's going to be an essential part of this ecosystem, and how smart money is not going to leave the ability to lend and borrow against their digital assets on the table.
So we're very big believers in liquidity pools. We believe that liquidity pools are going to be a standard part of the future ecosystem. We're very interested in lending protocols.
And so I think it's only a matter of time until you can perform those other functions, lend, borrow, provide liquidity to facilitate trading, these types of things, which also enhance your returns.
Yeah.
Right. So by making it composable, now you can actually boost your return on top in a fundamental way.
Yeah.
And so I don't think, smart money is going to leave that on the table once they understand the mechanics.
So again, showing you guys people with valid credentials, telling you all that this all is happening full force right now in the moment. This is particularly significant for XRP, which has historically been limited in its DeFi applications despite its substantial market capitalization and global adoption. F asset developments and deployments of this journey have continued to progress. Currently, FXRP is only live on Songbird, Flare's Canary network, designed for testing new features and protocols before they are deployed on Flare network. When they're deployed on Flare network, that is going to be huge. The launch of Songbird marks a major milestone as it represents the first real-world implementation of F asset protocols with actual value at stake. Couple more highlights from this. It says the response to Songbird's deployment has been strong, with the system quickly reaching its maximum allocation of $2 million for testing in just 4 days. The demand indicates interest in bringing XRP-Fi to reality, with the potential pent-up demand awaiting FXRP's mainnet launch on Flare. Plans for the said launch are well underway, with the Flare project team working to ensure a smooth transition. The test successfully on Songbird has provided insights and data that will inform the mainnet deployment, helping to identify and address any potential issues before they impact the production environment. The ecosystem around F assets is also showing signs of attraction. Uphold, most of you know, a US digital money platform that holds upwards of 1.8 billion XRP, has expressed interest in participating in the F asset ecosystem. Additionally, a NASDAQ listed Vivo Power company is deploying $100 million in XRP on Flare for yield generation. This institutional interest can be viewed as a validation of F assets approach, where the major players within the XRP ecosystem see F assets as making XRP-Fi a reality. Last but not least, it says down here, XRP-Fi enabled by Flare's F assets opens up a world of possibilities for XRP holders. They can now use their XRP for lending, borrowing, yield farming, liquidity provision, and other DeFi activities without sacrificing custody of their underlying assets. For institutions, XRP-Fi offers a way to generate yield on their XRP holdings. So it does mention and talk about institutions here, which have traditionally been held as static assets. This could be particularly attractive to financial institutions that have already adopted XRP for cross-border payments and remittances, as it provides an additional revenue stream from assets they are already holding. This is already being seen by companies that were mentioned above, like Vivo Power, Uphold, and Weebus. For retail users, XRP-Fi democratizes access to financial services that were previously unavailable to XRP holders. It allows individual investors to participate in the same yield-generating activities as larger players and earn returns on their XRP holders rather than simply speculating on price appreciation. Doesn't that sound so phenomenal? What have we been saying for the past consecutive couple of months here in the CYPRX private community? We had sounded crazy before articles like this started to come out and drop, where people were speculative on this. They were like, oh my gosh, this is never going to be possible. And now we are going full force into this future where we are not going to have to sell our XRP. Again, I'm a firm believer of paying yourself, maybe taking your initial investment off the table, buying yourself something nice. But why on earth, when we know for a fact the fiat system is dead, it's dying, it's decaying, they're devaluing our currencies every single year? It's just absolutely mind-blowing to me that people have this mindset they're going to survive long-term in this space by selling crypto for fiat, when crypto itself brings an underlying utility in terms of how it can be utilized in the DeFi ecosystem to combat against inflation and the devaluation of our currencies. Regardless of that, to continue this report, it goes on to say, just down here, last but not least, users will be able to deposit FXRP into Firelight's launch vault, which mints STXRP at a 1-to-1 exchange rate. These are ERC tokens that are fully transferable, enabling participation in DEXs, lending protocols, and other yield-generating applications. Meanwhile, the FXRP would remain staked to Secured Service Networks, or SSNs, to secure protocols across multiple ecosystems and earn potential rewards. So this is talking about a liquid staking feature here, coming soon. Okay, it does say liquid staking is coming to the XRP ecosystem through the launch of STXRP, which we'll get into in just a second as we talk about Strobe Finance and listen to these other industry-leading experts on stage. To wrap this up, it says, this system will allow users to benefit from staking yield without losing liquidity, unlocking a new utility for XRP in DeFi. STXRP, which is the liquid staking token that you would get in return after depositing your FXRP, holders may also earn Firelight points, which influence future reward allocations over time. These dynamics could also introduce new layers of composability with STXRP used as collateral, liquidity, or yield-bearing instruments throughout the XRP-Fi ecosystem. To wrap this up, it says Flare stands at the forefront of a potentially transformative moment for the XRP ecosystem by bridging the gap between XRP's substantial liquidity and the programmable world of DeFi. Flare is unlocking a new utility. So that wraps it up for part 1 of today's video breakdown. Now let's transition over to part 2 and dive deep into what Strobe Finance is bringing to the table for XRP holders. If you enjoyed part 1 of today's video breakdown, do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe to the platform. I encourage you guys to really take an in-depth look of what is becoming available to us as XRP holders. If you want to tap into a like-minded community of retail individuals that are 10,000 steps ahead of the curve, head over to CYPRXtrading.com, tap into our Wealth 28 Club, or possibly consider joining our Discord, where we have a vast amount of information that is going to help guide you through this digital transformation and learn how to start generating yield on your digital assets without having to actually expose yourself to the DeFi ecosystem. You don't want to be caught in a position where you're exposing your hard-earned digital assets into this crypto space in this DeFi ecosystem because you don't know what you're doing. Join a mentorship program, start to read documents like this, start to watch panel discussions, and start to educate yourself so that way you are effective and efficient in this space when it comes to generating yield with your idle capital. As always, many blessings to you guys, and I'll see you all over in part 2.